This is Dan Bain, creator of Sleepy Time Mumbles, with a bit of a pre-show preamble. First of all, this is a repeat episode of my Halloween special in occasion of Halloween. It is a spooky episode. It was an experiment in kind of doing a creeping dread style of Sleepy Time Mumbles rather than a more traditional meandering version. So if that's not for you, then this episode is not for you. But I will make you a deal. There is no sudden loud noises or kind of audio jump scares in the entirety of the piece. It is still at the usual pace, volume, etc. Just the subject matter is a little more macabre. Yeah. So if that's for you, great. But of course, it is October the 31st, and I said I would reveal the results of the greatest election of 2024, which is to return to the pre-show chimes. The votes are in, the counts have been made. A valiant effort from a few people to try and halt the return to the legacy, but the overwhelming response was bring them back. So, with no further ado, my Sleepy Time Nightmares episode. And what better way to start it off than like this.
Good evening. My name is Dan Bain. I'm being held against my will. I do not want to make any more episodes of this show. Please, if you can hear this, just I'm in like a studio, but I haven't seen daylight for. Oh my.
Good evening, and welcome to Dan Bain's Sleepy Time Mumbles. I am Dan Bain, and every episode I improvise a low-stakes podcast for you to follow. I'd love it if you could rate or review the show wherever you find podcasts. Wherever you find wherever you get podcasts. Just wherever you get podcasts. Just wherever you get podcasts. No, wherever you get podcasts. Wherever you get podcasts. Wherever you get podcasts. Wherever you.
You shouldn't be here. This is the forbidden section of the Library of Inertia. None are meant to have crossed this threshold. All right. I'll read you a story. Safe by Dan Bain.
I gotta do 10,000 steps. 10 10,000 steps every day. That's what Carl said to himself as he went up the staircase. 10,000 steps every day as he snuck up the staircase. 10,000 steps each and every day as he snuck up the staircase of the house that was not his. I gotta do 10,000 sneaky steps, thought Carl, as he snuck along the landing past the sleeping children in their beds. 10,000 steps, gotta keep my cardio up, gotta maintain my heart rate. Carl's heart was beating in his chest, loud, the thump, as he snuck along the landing, past the sleeping children, past the master bedroom, to the study. Gotta do my 10,000 steps, and I'm gonna do these 10,000 steps inside your house. Carl chuckled to himself, quietly, so as not to wake the sleeping family. He opened the study door quietly. His hands were wearing surgical gloves so as not to leave fingerprints on any surfaces. And in his bag he had his things, his burglaring things, and also his emergency things. Sometimes when you're burglaring, things go wrong, and then you have a burglaring emergency, and you need things to deal with those contingencies. He knew what he was looking for. He was looking for the safe. He took down the painting, the family portrait, and placed it on the ground. The family looked back up at him, but Carl wasn't interested. He turned to the safe. Gotta get into this safe. Gotta find out what's in here. People don't put things in safes that aren't important. They just put them in drawers or cupboards. It was an old school safe, one with a dial and a lever. You had to turn the dial, you had to enter the combination. Carl didn't know the combination, but he knew he wanted into the safe. He wanted to get in there and find out what secret things were in there, what secret valuables had been put inside, what was being kept from him. Carl hated it when people kept things from him, when they kept secrets from him. No one keeps secrets from me. I'm getting into this safe. And so Carl reached out with his begloved hands and began to try combinations. The safe dial went from 1 to 360. You have to enter a combination one way, then back the other way, then back the other way again, then turn the lever. 3 combinations, 3 numbers to make up the combination, numbers between 1 and 360. its many possibilities. Carl began turning, testing, was there method to his experiments? No, there was not. Was he making a list of the numbers he had tried? No, he was not. But what Carl knew was that if he hadn't worked out the combination by the time dawn arrived, there would be a burglary emergency. And he would have to kill every member of the family. Story number 2. Spider House. House of Spiders. Haunted Spider House. House of Haunted Spiders. Spider House. It starts with a house. That's where it starts. Crouched on top of the hill, looking down over the town. A house watching, ready to scuttle down at any moment. Sees you. Wrap you all up. Save you for later. That's where it starts. With a house. What happens next? Bravado. Hey, said Sally to Max, I bet you're too chicken to spend the night in the spider house. I ain't chicken, said Max. I'm a real tough, brave guy. I'm tough and brave, and I do sports. Man, I ain't afraid of anything. And I don't believe in these old wives' tales, in the stories that little kids tell. They're for old wives and little kids, not me. I'm a young man, just coming into my prime, and I'm physically fit and good at catching a ball. These kind of things don't bother me. I ain't afraid of it at all. Oh yeah, said Sally. Well, if you spend the night in the spider house, I'll let you touch my forbidden places. The places that up until now I've forbidden you from touching. I'll let you touch them. Oh yeah, said Max. I'd be into that. I'd be interested in touching those places. Well, you gotta prove yourself to me, said Sally. You gotta prove that you're worthy of touching my forbidden places. So how's about you? Go into that spider house, 'cause I hear that in that spider house is nightmares. I ain't afraid of nightmares. And even if I was afraid of nightmares, babe, I'm more interested in touching you. And with that, Max made a sandwich in case he got hungry when he was in the spider house, and walked up the road to spend the night in the spider house. A haunted spider house. Not sure if it's haunted. Definitely spider house. He opened the door and called out, "Hello? Is anyone here?" No one answered. So he stepped inside and closed the door behind him, making sure that it didn't lock. Although he was brave, he wasn't stupid. If something went wrong, maybe he would need to get out in a hurry. I guess I'll just have a look around, he thought. So he wandered around the downstairs. The house was empty. All the furniture had been taken away, and it was dusty as the light of his torch played over the various surfaces. The corners of the room were thick with spider webs, but downstairs revealed nothing, not even a chair that he could sit on, or a couch that he could recline upon to spend the night. So he had to go upstairs. Perhaps I could just sit on the stairs, he thought. Stairs can be a bit like a seat, but the idea of sitting on those steps with the great yawning expanse of the upstairs behind him filled him with dread. So upstairs it was. Upstairs he must go. And he did. step by step, up the stairs. You gotta get 10,000 in every day. As he went up, he broke through strands of spider web that clung to his face and into his hair. He felt like small things were crawling over him, but he was sure that was just his imagination getting the better of him. Upstairs, there was a bathroom. He turned on the tap just to see if it worked. It sputtered for a moment, but then a steady stream of surprisingly warm water came out. "Huh," he said, and turned it off before strolling into the rest of the upstairs, munching his sandwich for about now. He was starting to get hungry. The spare room was the most full of spider webs. But on the far side, he could see a small box. What was in that box? He had to know what was in that box. So he crossed the room, breaking the spider's webs, becoming covered in old, dusty gossamer thread, until he reached the box. He opened it. There was nothing in it. Empty. And now he was covered in spider thread. What to do? Max went back to the bathroom. Have a shower. Came a thought that didn't even feel like one of his own thoughts. An alien thought, a thought that was intruding inside his mind. But nonetheless, it was enticing. Max took his clothes off and turned on the shower and got into the shower. And the water was warm and pleasant. Surprisingly so. I'll just be quick, he thought. I'll just get these webs off me. Max scrubbed his face, then turned around to wash them off his back and out of his hair, and it was at that moment that the water, up until this point, so warm and enticing, began to change. At first he just thought it was grit, but then he realized it was moving, and then he realized that spiders were pouring out of the shower. Millions upon millions of them, slowly getting bigger and bigger, pouring out of the shower head, spraying over his body, climbing and crawling and cracking at him. The spiders crawled to his forbidden places, and they devoured them.
Story number 3. Child safety.
The child was coming to stay at the house. There was going to be a child in the house, and usually there hadn't been a child in the house. So this meant that the house had to be child safety proofed. If you've got a child coming around, you can't just leave the house unchild safety proofed. You gotta get the house safe. Simone really wanted the house to be safe. When her sister arrived with the child and then went to her conference and left the child at the house with Simone, Simone did not want the child to get electrocuted by putting its fingers into uncovered electrical sockets. So Simone went around the whole house, putting plastic safety covers over all of the electrical sockets. When Simone's sister arrived with the child and left the child so she could go to her conference, Simone did not want the child to get into the cupboard under the sink and drink the bleach. So Simone put child locks on all of the cupboards and the drawers, because you see, when Simone's sister came around with her child and left the child with Simone so she could go to her conference to give her keynote speech, Simone didn't want that child opening the drawer and getting out the carving knife. So she secured the drawers as well. When Simone's sister's child was left at the house on account of the keynote speaking engagement, Simone didn't want that child to fall down the stairs and break its neck. So Simone put a safety gate at the top and the bottom of the stairs. Now a child could neither get up if it were downstairs, nor down were it upstairs. Up and down the stairs Simone went, installing the gates. She laughed. Gosh, I've been so busy. I'm gonna get my 10,000 steps so easily today. When Simone's sister came around and left the child behind so she could go and talk at her event, Simone didn't want the child to get an allergic reaction from plants in the house, so she took all the plants and threw them over the fence. She didn't want the child to get dirt under its fingernails, so she polished the floor. She didn't want the child have its eyes dazzled by the sun reflecting off mirrored surfaces, so she smashed them all and then taped up the windows with newspapers so the sunlight couldn't get in. When Simone's sister came round and left her child, Simone did not want that child to get its fingers stuck in the plug holes in the sink, so she filled them up with cement. When Simone's sister's child came round to the house, Simone did not want the baby to drown, so she turned off the water to her house. When Simone's sister came around, she couldn't find Simone or get into the house. That was episode 20 of Sleepy Time Mumbles, the Halloween special. Please feel free to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow the show at I Am Dan Bain on Facebook or Twitter, or Sleepy Time Mumbles on Instagram. Until next week, good night. Sleep tight.